Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at Warhammer 40,000 Faction Focus ASTRA MILITARUM. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Warhammer 40,000 Faction Focus ASTRA MILITARUM. Let's take a look at the new rules for the Imperial Guard. The Imperium is mind-bogglingly vast, under constant attack from unknowable terrors within and without. And it is only by the daily sacrifice of innumerable Astra Militarum troopers that the darkness is held back. The Imperial Guard is the only organization enormous enough to protect humanity's realm from one galactic edge to the other, built upon the blood and grit of men and women who hold the line against aliens, mutants, and heretics. With the new Tyranid invasion bursting out from an unexpected quarter, the Astra Militarum are harder pressed than ever. But they do have the bulwark of some new tasty rules. One ordinary mortal can't hope to stand against the galaxy's worst nightmares alone, and the commanders of the Astra Militarum know this well. Synergy is the name of their game, so bellowing officers demand the best from their troops while artillery thunders and tanks bury the foe in high explosive mayhem. The across-the-board boost in vehicle toughness is a gift from the Emperor himself. The Liman Russ and the Baneblade are both armored up. Backed up by double-sized units of guardsmen, they present an impenetrable wall of steel that few foes will have the firepower to break down. Faction rules. They might be expendable mortals thrown in hellish war zones with little more than lasguns and prayer, but the Imperial Guard have one thing that makes them envy of foul aliens and vile heretics the galaxy over: a highly skilled, much-loved, and totally meritocratic officer class. The Voice of Command Army rule gives these battle-tested tacticians access to 6 specialized orders, allowing you to micromanage each of your units for the situation at hand. So we have the Astra Militarum Army rule, Voice of Command. If your army faction is Astra Militarum, in your command phase, officer models from your army with this ability can issue orders. Each officer datasheet will specify how many orders it can issue and which units are eligible to receive those orders. Each time an officer model issues an order, select one of the orders below, then select one eligible friendly unit within 6 inches of this officer model to issue it to. Until the start of your next command phase, that unit selected is affected by that order. Unless otherwise stated, a unit can only be affected by one order at a time. Any order subsequently issued to that unit replaces the current one. If a unit being affected by an order becomes battle shocked, that order ceases to affect that unit. Alright, so we have our 6 orders. Move, move, move. Add 3 to the move characteristic of models in this unit. Fix bayonets. Improve the weapon skill characteristic of melee weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1. Take aim. Improve the ballistic skill characteristic of ranged weapons equipped with models in this unit by 1. First rank fire, second rank fire. Improve the attack characteristic of rapid fire weapons equipped by models in this unit by 1. Take cover. Improve the save characteristic of models in this unit by 1. This cannot improve the model save to better than 3+. And finally, duty and honor. Improve the leadership and objective control characteristic of models in this unit by 1. With command squads and castellans urging on your infantry assets, tank commanders directing your armored squadrons, and the Lord Solar bellowing inspiration at just about everybody, there's an order for every occasion, and an ear for every order. Just be careful not to target squads on the brink of collapse. If they fall in the battle shock, your order will have been wasted. Unit Spotlight. The humble guardsman is the beating heart of the Astra Militarum, and few have a great reputation as Acadian shock troops. Trained practically from birth to hold the line against the Imperial's foes, these model soldiers can use their shock troops' ability to secure vital objectives in moments before pressing on with the assault. Similar abilities can be found on the core troops of many factions, allowing players to free up resources from camping objectives and take the fight into the enemy. Alright, so here's our first look at the Acadian shock troops. So we have the war gear options. For every 10 models in the unit, up to 2 can have a lasgun replaced with one of the following. So you have flamer, grenade launcher, meltagun, and plasma gun. You cannot select the same weapon more than once for each unit unless it contains 20 models, in which case you can select the same weapon more than twice per unit. So each weapon once for every 10 or twice for every 20. And for every 10 models in this unit, one shock trooper is equipped with a lasgun can be equipped with one box caster. Any number of shock troop sergeants can have their las pistol replaced with a bolt pistol. Any number of shock troop sergeants can each have their las pistol and chainsword replaced with one drum-fed autogun and close combat weapon. So unit composition: 1 shock troop sergeant and 9 shock troops, or 2 shock troop sergeants and 18 shock troops. Every shock troop sergeant is equipped with a las pistol and chainsword. Every shock trooper is equipped with a lasgun close combat weapon. This unit can have up to 2 leader units attached to it, provided no more than one of those units is a command squad unit. If it does and this bodyguard unit is destroyed, the leader unit attached to it becomes separate unit with the original starting strengths. So a couple of interesting notes there. So there was some fear from people when they heard that there were limit restrictions on troops units. And I think immediately Astra Militarum was the faction people were focused on. Well, we see now that rather than having, let's say, 10-man squads, you're now going to be more likely to have something like 5 20-man squads or something along those lines. So the actual army composition might not be changed nearly as much as the organization of said models within that army. All right, so we have move 6, toughness 3, save 5+, wounds 1, leadership 7, OC 2. And then we have a ton of weapons for them. I'm going to skip through all of this. It looks like they are pretty standard. I mean, just looking at like a plasma gun, 24-inch range, 1 shot, hits on 4s, strength 7, 8 if it's overcharged, AP 2, 3 if it's overcharged, and 1 damage, 2 if it is overcharged. So pretty standard. And then abilities, shock troops. At the end of your command phase, if this unit is within range of an objective marker you control, that objective marker remains under your control, even if you have no models within range of it, until your opponent controls it at the start or end of any turn. So sticky objectives for your troops. And then warrior abilities, Voxcaster. Each time you target the bearer unit with the stratagem, roll a d6, adding 1 to the result if there are 1 or more friendly officer models within 6. On a 5-up, you gain 1 command point. So that is pretty good. That's going to definitely incentivize you to take those 20 soldier units. Because if you have 20 and you drop a stratagem on them, it's going to buff, 20 plus the attached command squad plus the additional character. So, essentially you're hitting like 26 people with a single stratagem to make them more durable or something like that. And you couple that with some orders, and all of a sudden you're a lot more durable or a lot more killy than you would normally be. And then on top of that, refunding command points on, what amounts to 50% of the time. Yeah, shock troops are definitely going to be a thing. I like where they're going with everything so far. Obviously, there's a couple nitpicky things. We haven't seen all of the rules yet. So before we have like the full picture, I'm going to stay pretty open and keep my criticisms to a minimum. But so far, it looks good to me. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video. On the opposite end of the scale is the legendary Baneblade, a titanic war machine that revels in its upgraded durability. The massive tank can share some of its improved resilience with the smaller comrades courtesy of the Rolling Fortress ability, which turns it into an immobile piece of cover. Alright, so we see the Baneblade card here. So we do see the Baneblade card here. Move 9, toughness 13. So interesting, it did not get the 14 toughness. 13 is still pretty awesome though. Save 2 up, wounds 24, leadership 7+, OC 8. So ranged weapons, what do we really care about? The Baneblade cannon. So it is blast, 72-inch range, 3d6 shots. So it's going to average about 10 or 11 shots. Ballistic skill 4. Strength 12, AP 2, damage 3. So it is pretty strong. We obviously see that they have toned back AP on a lot of these weapons. So AP 2 doesn't seem like a ton, but considering everything else has kind of been toned down a little bit, I think it's still going to be pretty good. We do see the armored tracks as well. Melee weapon, attack 6, weapon skill 4, strength 8, AP 0, 1 damage. And then we have the ton of other weapons as well. And then the core abilities, deadly demise, d6 plus 2. So it's going to do some serious damage, between 3 and 8 damage if it explodes. And then rolling fortress, each time a ranged attack is allocated to an Astra Militarum model from your army. If that model is not fully visible to every model in the attacking unit, because of this Baneblade model, that model has the benefit of cover against that attack. So it makes sense. I mean, if you have a massive tank in front of you, I think it makes perfect sense that you would be using it as mobile cover. And then damage 1 to 8 wounds remaining. So it has 24 wounds. So now once it has taken over 2/3 damage, While this model has 1 to 8 wounds remaining, subtract 4 from its objective control characteristic, and each time this model makes an attack, subtract 1 from the hit roll. But we do notice on this that it is ballistic skill 4 across the board. So very strong. Baneblade is obviously a super durable tank. It's not quite as specialized as some of the others, but it does have quite a bit of armaments as well. This thing looks strong. It looks very good. I mean, jumping up to toughness 13, at first, I don't think people are truly going to appreciate it, but a lot of the big tank hunter heavy weapons did not go up in strength nearly as much. So for instance, the las cannon profile we see here is 48-inch range, 1 shot, ballistic skill 4, strength 12, minus 3 AP, d6 plus 1 damage. So at strength 12, a las cannon shooting at this Baneblade is going to need 5s to wound. So vehicles are definitely going to be a thing, and I think we're going to see a lot more of people taking actual specialized weapons to destroy those vehicles rather than trying to rely on volume of fire. Alright, and then we got a little weapon spotlight here. The rhythm of Imperial Assault Line is a constant dull thud of battle cannons firing up and down the line as Leman Russ battle tanks lob shells into enemy positions. These hefty guns have always been a great all-around weapon for tracking light and heavy targets alike. These hefty guns have always been a great all-around weapon for tackling light and heavy targets alike, and they earn a welcome boost to their strength. So we have the Leman Russ battle cannon. It is blast, range 48, attacks d6 plus 3, so it's going to be 4 to 9 shots, ballistic skill 4 up, strength is 10, AP minus 1, damage 3. So again, we see the AP is only minus 1, but at damage 3, anything that gets through is going to do some serious damage. Yet even this battle cannon looks little more than a pea shooter next to the true king of battlefield firepower, the volcano cannon. The Shadow Sword's super heavy tank is essentially a delivery system for this behemoth, and this raw power is exactly what you'd need in a dedicated Titan killer. So we have the volcano cannon from the Shadow Sword, blast and heavy. So interesting, we haven't seen heavy on some of these other weapons. So range is 96, attacks d3 plus 1. So between 2 and 4 shots at ballistic skill 4 up. So if you roll average between 2 and 4 shots, you're going to end up with between 1 and 2 hits. It is strength 24. So it's going to move anything with toughness 12 or lower on 2s. Things that are toughness 13 and 14, it's going to wound on 3s. AP is minus 5. So it's going to take your 2 up save to a 7 up save. So no save. And damage is just a flat 12. So it doesn't have a lot of shots, but boy, do those shots count. And if you're shooting anything without an invulnerable saving throw, this thing is literally just melting it. Very, very cool, very strong, very thematic. And I think this is probably one of, if not the strongest weapon we're going to see in all of 40K, just like historically. So I think this is essentially what you would look at if you're looking at the most powerful weapon or one of the most powerful weapons in the game. Somewhere around this. And I think it's very, very strong, but rightfully so. Alright, on to the Stratagem Spotlight. As numerous as your mass conscripts are, there often comes a time when the noble sacrifices pile a little too high, and more able-bodied are needed for the Emperor's service. Fortunately, commanders of combined regiment detachments can call upon fresh reinforcements when things get a bit dicey. So reinforcements, combined regiment, strategic ploy, stratagem. 2 command points, when any phase. Target 1 regiment unit from your army that was just destroyed. You can use this stratagem on that unit even though it was just destroyed. Effect. Add a new unit to your army identical to your destroyed unit in strategic reserves at its starting strength and with all of its wounds remaining. Restrictions. The stratagem cannot be used to return destroyed character units to attached units. What sorts of units have the regiment keyword, you ask? Your core infantry squads, of course, but also the big gun of heavy weapon squads and field ordnance batteries. Elites like Tempestus Scions, and even fast-moving Rough Riders and Sentinel teams. Your reserves are truly as limitless as your devotion. So for 2 command points, you could bring back 20 infantrymen, you could bring back a Sentinel squad, Rough Riders, field ordnance batteries, heavy weapons teams. Very, very strong. 2 command points, really cool. We have seen something like this for Tyranid Gaunts already. We're obviously seeing this for the ASTRA Militarum. We've seen some really cool and strong rules for returning models to your units for Necrons. So I would expect that we're going to see a little bit more of the kind of like Sigmar type style of being able to bring back units, destroyed units, partial units, etc. The word from the studio. As James from the Warhammer Design Studio told us, With the combined regiment detachment, we wanted to evoke the ASTRA MILITARUM force drawing on all its human courage to stand firm against the foe. Picture guardsmen and tanks hunkering down to blast the oncoming enemy. And you have the Born Soldiers detachment rule, which converts lethal hits on ranged attacks made by units that remain stationary. The enhancements you can give the characters play into this further. Whether you use a drill commander to lend your stationary units critical hits on rolls of 5 instead of 6, or the Death Mask of Olanius, which sees the objective control characteristic of the bear's unit drop only by 1 while battle shocked, rather than 0. With a flexible crop of stratagems on top of this, a combined regiment detachment promises to be a well-rounded fighting machine capable of anything High Command might ask of it. And then we see here at the bottom, faction focus. And so far we have made it through the first 4 factions and now the ASTRA MILITARUM. And as we can see here, up next is the ASTRA MILITARUM. So nothing to see here, just another obvious error by Warhammer community. So what is going to be next after this? Your guess is as good as mine. So yeah, pretty cool. Definitely in flavor with what we have seen previously from ASTRA MILITARUM. I don't think there was anything too crazy here. I think they did a great job addressing the issue that people were having, which was the limit of troops units in your army. I believe they said the limit of regular units was 3, and for troops and transports it was 6 maybe. And that's why people are a little worried, because typically people take 100 infantrymen, but now you can just take 6 squads of 20. So you can still have 120 infantrymen. So no issues there. So let me know what you guys think down below. I think so far all of the armies have been thematic. I think the rules that they have showed typically will encourage players to lean into the way the armies are meant to be played. I do like how the vehicles have been differentiated, and volume of fire will still be strong, but you're going to need some actual dedicated vehicle hunting units, or you may run into some serious problems. So very, very cool and very excited for the new edition. As always, special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Check out the link in the description to save 15%. That's it for today. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and I heard the guard is recruiting, although survivability might not be the best. And I'm out of here.